Hello, my name is Tomasz Poszetek, and in this video I would like to take you on a journey with me where I will be showcasing you the new product that Microsoft has just released. It is now in a public preview version and it's called the Process Advisor. But before I do that, I want to as well draw you this big picture of how RPA, so the robotic process automation, looked and looks in the Microsoft landscape. Why? Well, because the Process Advisor is very tightly bound to RPA processes actually. So the whole story started around 2019. I mean, not around, but around Ignite 2019. During the Ignite, Satya Nadella announced that there is this new product added to Power Automate suite called the UI Flows. Back then, we were able to make a very easy RPA automations using the UI Flow and the Selenium IDE for automation of the desktop and the web. Well, that wasn't very, let's say, comfortable approach to create those automations. And that approach also didn't offer a lot of functionalities back then. But it was something that possibly Microsoft customers were waiting for. So that was a very first step. But the vendors on the market, so like Automation Anywhere, UiPath, or Blue Prism, they had a lot of more functionalities and a lot of more features. So what Microsoft decided was not to actually invest in development of the UI flows. They invested in acquisition. And so during the build 2020, in May 2020, Microsoft announced that they have acquired a company called Softomotive. With this acquisition, Win Automation, so the flagship product of the Softomotive, became the RPA preferred application or the preferred solution present and available for Microsoft customers. Win Automation actually was way different from UI Flows and Selenium IDE because it was just a single desktop application having not only functionalities to record the point and click on the user interface, but as well lots of more actions, conditions, variables, integrations with third-party applications that helped developers to actually create the whole RPA flows just within that tool. And so it didn't take another half a year that Microsoft during the Ignite 2020 announced that there is a new software, the new product they have released called the Power Automate Desktop. Now, this is also not a secret that the Power Automate Desktop is built on top of Win Automation, so it has its engine. However, it has a different skin or the different UI. And also it is very, very more tightly integrated with the cloud. So all the flows are stored in the cloud. The communication with the cloud is also better done. You can pass variables from the flows in Power Automate and then receive outcomes and so on and so on. However, what Microsoft was missing, like ever since they started a journey with RPA, is a set of other functionalities, set of other tools that the vendors already had. And one of them is a process mining functionality. The process mining actually stands for the set of actions that the companies are taking to discover what the processes they have in the organization and how these processes are actually being done. And so every vendor, every leader in the RPA market, like UiPath, Automation Anywhere, or Blue Prism, they have already their own process mining solutions. And Microsoft didn't have. So in the beginning, they told us that they have made a cooperation with a company called Fortress IQ so that Microsoft customers were actually able to sign a separate agreement with Fortress IQ for their services. And while Fortress IQ actually offers a lot of services around process discovery, and they're quite powerful, however, being Microsoft customer didn't give us any discounts, any better conditions, and so on and so on. And so Microsoft decided to actually build their own process discovery tool. And this tool is called Process Advisor. So with Process Advisor, companies are now able to actually not maybe discover that the process exists, but once they are aware that there is a process, they can then ask their employees to actually show them how these processes are done. Because when you give the process actually to be done by the human agent, by the employees, there are many ways you can accomplish the same tasks. So let me now get to the demo, the showcase of the Process Advisor, how it looks like. So once you log into your Power Automate application, to your Power Automate service, you will notice this new option in menu called the Process Advisor. It is built from two main areas, so the creation of the processes and the processes themselves. Let me start from the creation, just to showcase you how it looks like. Now, once this creation of the process page appears, you are here able to actually build a new process or add a recording to an existing process. Creation of the new process is very easy. You need to provide the name and a short description. And then once this creation of the process is done, you can then add the recording or just go to the view all processes. Let me just go briefly to the all processes so I'll be able to better describe you or define what is underneath. All right, so I am now at the page that is called the processes, where I can see the list of all the processes that I have created or that are shared with me. Now each process has its stages, whether it's draft, it's in progress, or it's analyzed, or it's ready for analyzing. Also the number of recordings and information if it has been analyzed or not. What is analyzing? I'll tell you in a moment. Now once you mark the process, you can then go into analytics. I will leave it for later. You can go into its details, so just to edit its name or its description, and as well you can share this process with other employees. Now, in a big picture, what the Process Advisor does, it helps you to record your activities on your machine. So if you would like to get insights on how the same process is being done by multiple other employees, then you need to share this process with all these employees so that any of them is then able actually to record how they are, what steps they are taking to accomplish the same goal. And here the sharing lets you to actually distribute your process across other employees so you can get these insights from a bigger team, the bigger set of employees than just you. All right. And lastly, well, you can as well get the new recording and analyze the existing recordings or delete the existing process. Sorry, analyze the existing process, so all the recordings inside. Now, what I have here created is the register the invoice. This process in the company that is now trying to discover how it's being done actually means that an employee receives an email with an attachment that is an invoice. Now, the invoice usually comes in PLN, in Polish zloty. So what they need to do next is actually to go into somewhere like the currency converter, the Polish National Bank to get the quotes. Anyway, they need to convert the value from Polish zlotys to USD dollars. And lastly, once this conversion is done, what I have to do is actually go to Contoso Invoices application and to register information about that new invoice. Very easy, but there are many ways you can accomplish that. So for example, one employee is copying the total value from the invoice, then going to the browser, simply inputting a value like this value in PLN to USD, and then Google converts it ad hoc. The other employee goes into like money exchange application at msn.com and converts the currency there. The other one would possibly go, for example, to just the quotes values, copy the quote, then open a calculator and simply convert that value on their behalf. And another one that I will be now showcasing is using Excel to do this simple task. Why Excel? I don't know, but hey, you can do that because once this process is not yet structurized, is not yet defined, you have really a lot of freedom on how you will accomplish it. So right now, I have already 2 recordings done and analyzed. I will now add a new recording. So I'll add the new recording to the register the invoice process. And now what you will see right now is something that should be already familiar to you if you have any experience already with the Power Automate desktop. So what is loading now in a back is actually a desktop recorder that we know from Power Automate desktop. Come on here. Ta-da! And now what we have to do is actually to start the recording and then simply try to behave, try to do our steps as natural as possible. All right, so now let me show you how I could accomplish my task of conversion of the currency from PLN to USD and then registering the new invoice in the CRM. All right, to do that, I need to start the recording. And so first, I need to open the invoice that is in my email. So you don't see my email, my inbox, but I'm now double clicking on the Contoso invoice. So you can see that the recorder has recorded a hit twice on the screen of my inbox. The next thing I want to do is actually to copy this value. Now what I will do is to open the Excel. Right, so you can see as well that I clicked Excel on the Windows Start. Then I'll go into blank workspace or workbook. Let me move it here and hit the full screen. Now, if you are like a more advanced user of this recording software, then what you could do is actually to as well delete these steps that you think are not actually important. So for example, moving the windows is not that very much important because I just did it to move it from one screen to another to show you how it looks like, but it's not very valuable for the recording itself. Obviously, if you're just a very beginning level user, then you would just leave all these steps inside, but it doesn't actually matter. What matters is, what is the most important is how much time actually it takes you to accomplish this task. All right? So now I'll just put this value that I have copied here. It seems that it hasn't been copied for some reason, so I'll just do it this way. All right. And now I'll go into the web browser to the Polish National Bank. And what I will do is I'll get a quote for the USD. So this is the USD quote here. And then I'll copy it again. And I'll put it here. Right. What I also have to do is to remove this PLN because I don't need it. Maybe I also need to change the formatting because Excel doesn't think it's in Polish zloty. I mean, it's a number. Nope, wrong. That is correct. Oh gosh. All right. So right now I just need to make a small division to divide one by the other. So my value in Polish zloty should be around like 910. So I'll just copy it, or maybe I'll just leave it here. The next step I need to do is actually to open the Contoso invoicing application. So let me just open it. It's now again opening on the second screen, so I need to drag and drop it here. Oh, come on, right? And I'll just show you what is already in the recording. There is a lot of information. So again, I will remove this information around moving of the window. Okay, and now what I have to do is again what you are somehow familiar already from using Power Automate Desktop, because you know that those red borders mean that the recorder is actually aware of what I'm clicking at. So I need to go to invoices, I need to click the new one, And then I simply need to actually provide all this information. So it's school toys, right? So I'm just, and this invoice, well, I need to go to Excel again. Copy that value and then input it here. Okay. Ouch! No, that's bad. So there should be a dot. All right. And then finally, I can change the invoice's status. And lastly, I need to hit save and simply, hey, right? Save. And then close the window. Okay, so I have done the process. So I can hit now finish. I have accomplished the goal. I've made the new entry in the Contoso invoicing application. So like my job is done as this experimental bunny. Okay, then I need to go back to the Process Advisor interface in here. So what is now happening is that this recording that I've done is actually being saved back to the cloud. So this process can take a while. It can take like a minute or two, depending on how long the recording actually was. And then once this recording is saved, then I will show you what is the next step that you have to take. What is also important is that you shouldn't close this window until it displays the confirmation message that the recording is saved. Because if you do that, then this recording is going to be damaged and you will never able to analyze it and it will be just useless. So you'll have to repeat all your work. All right. So the recording has been saved. So the message is now saying it's saved. Now, what is also important is that this recording works obviously on the computers, on configurations which have more than one screen attached. So like, for example, I have 3 screens, but if I'm doing a recording on 3 screens, then the Power to My Desktop, this desktop recorder that is being used for this scenario, is actually doing screenshots of these elements I'm clicking from the 3 screens. So these images are quite large. Now, if you actually want to make this then upload this saving process much faster, then I encourage you to simply have only one screen open, one screen turned on, so that this whole recording is actually being done on a single screen. Then the save is going to be much faster and much more efficient. All right, got it. Now, the next step I have to do is to actually go to my registered invoices. And now here I can actually see the new recording that has just been added. Right, so this is here. Well, this is basically also the information, like a dashboard of the process. So I have information with whom it is being shared, when it has been created, when it has been analyzed, by whom it was, all the details around my process, and also all the recordings. So now what I have to do is actually go to this not analyzed recording and prepare it for analyzing. This preparation is actually, these are 2 steps. So first, you have to review all the steps that have been taken here. So you see all the information that has been provided, all the clicks that I've done. Now, you can actually, you can as well try to update the information. So for example, if you do have a kind of a screenshot or information in the description that is somehow confidential, and you don't want to have it presented to the person who is going to then review the recording, then you can actually go and modify it. So for example, where was it? This is Control-C key. Nope. So for example here, right? This is the Contoso invoicing. I see here a lot of information. Maybe I wouldn't like them to be visible for the reviewer. So I can simply hit to delete the screenshot. All right, now the information is gone. Or for example, here I'm somehow registering the information into the Contoso invoicing application, and I wouldn't like that this text is visible. I would like it to change it to, for example, and that's done. So it's being saved automatically. So um, this way you can also amend the steps so that you can hide the information you wouldn't like to be visible by the reviewer, by the process owner. Now the next step is you need to group this recording into like the steps that you've taken. These groups are crucial because they're being used actually then to calculate how this process, how long this process takes in each of the groups you need to take. I mean, in each of the steps you need to take actually to accomplish the goal. So I need now to add the groups. First, I need to select where I want to add this group. And then I can either choose from the existing groups, so from these that have been already used in other recordings, or I can create my own. Well, obviously, if you're going to reuse the existing groups, then this analyzation that is going to be done later will actually calculate and compare each approach, so each recording, how much time does it take in this scenario, in that scenario, so which actually approach to accomplish the goal is the most efficient and which possibly should be taken as a basis to then create a digitalized workflow, the digitalized process. So first I'm obviously opening the attachment. Then what was that? There is this attachment, right? This is also the attachment. Now I'm opening Excel. So I'll here add the new group. And there is no yet open in Excel. It's like launching a calculator, but there is no Excel. So I'll call it, all right, it's opening Excel. Now this will be called getting the PLN USD exchange rate, right? So I'm going here to NBP, so the Polish bank, and I'm copying here the data, the currency. Okay, so that's done. Now I went back to Excel, and here I'm going to convert. So there is also this step calling converting PLN to USD. So I'm using Excel to convert. Right, I pasted it. I then made this calculation, and I copied it, and there is still Excel. And oh wow, there is still Excel, there is still Excel, there is still Excel, there is still Excel. And there is, wow. Right, so something is missing in this recording, so it didn't record actually when I was opening the Contoso invoicing application, but it doesn't actually matter that much because no, I don't need this group here, but I need this group somewhere here. Let's call it this way. So this is going to be another group that is going to be called registering record in Contoso invoicing. All right, so right now I have my whole recording divided into groups. So I can save it. And once this is saved, I can mark it that it's ready for analyze. Okay, so the next step I have to do is then go back to my process details and hit that button to start analyzing. So let it just load, right? So here I can simply go back to the whole process. And here I need to hit the analyze. So right now, as you can see, the process analyzing status is saying that it's being analyzed. So this is going to take another couple of moments. I will just check to refresh by refreshing the page. So hopefully it's already analyzed. Right, so it also says that the analyzed recordings number is 3. So that was the last step. And right now I can actually go into the analytics and to see how is my process looking like across all these three down recordings from, let's say, three different employees. So how they're what steps they're taking to accomplish the same goal. So the analytics is actually Power BI embed in this web page. And let me go briefly through what it is being saying, what is being displaying. So first page is the process map. The process map actually is going to visually display me what were, in this case, the three different approaches that users took to actually accomplish the same goal. So for example, well, each user started from opening the attachment. That's maybe good, that's maybe bad. Then one of them used the calculator, the other opened an Excel. Then each actually user somehow copied the total value from the PDF. Well, in this scenario, I didn't mark that group that I was copying the total value. I should have done it, then this arrow should also group or emerge in this copying total value. Now, one of these users actually went straight to converting the PLN to USD, and then the other one also went through, or the two of them went through copying the exchange rate. And also one of them converted possibly with a calculator, the other one with the Excel, and so on and so on. And so finally, every user registered the outcomes in the Contoso invoicing. What I also can see is that how many were the recordings, what are the number of activities, so what is the number of different steps that were taken, and actually how this whole recording, how this whole approach to the process completion looks like. Now, if I go into time analysis, if it was done by different users, then I would be as well able to see how each of those users were actually doing those steps to accomplish the time. So here I can see actually which tasks, which steps took the most time, the biggest amount of time, which users actually were doing their process the longer, or the longest, which activity also took the most time across all the recordings. So with all these analytics, I can actually see now how my process looks like in numbers. So I see that all the users are now trying to save their invoices data into the Contoso invoicing application. But the steps they are taking in between, I can say that, hey, someone needs to have like over a minute to convert the data, to convert the currency. Well, if I have like 100 of these invoices processed per a week, for example, then this is going to be 100 minutes. If I can automate it, it looks like I can save like 100 minutes of a time, so nearly 2 hours, okay, an hour and a half of a time of a single employee. So maybe it's really worth to have this process digitalized, because the Power Automate desktop license, for example, costs $40 per month, and this user can run this conversion in attended mode, and therefore they can save an hour of their life in a week, and then focus this hour on some more demanding work, right? So this is actually what the Process Advisor tool looks like and what it does. So in short words, the Process Advisor, its purpose is to help you to understand how a certain processes are being done, to find a way to optimize them, to find a way to save the time of your employees on them, and actually as well then to help you to write down some kind of a process design document where you will be describing what steps are being taken to, again, accomplish that certain goal, and how this process should be then transformed into an RPA workflow and the Power Automate flow. So I hope I made this very clear, and if you have any questions, simply write them down in the comments below the video. If you'd like to ask me any more questions around this tool or RPA, go to aka.ms/poshtech and find all the social links and email and other contact details right there. Thank you very much for watching. Subscribe, thumbs up, and until the next time. Thank you.